We are going to our political panel now. Kerry Chikarovsky and Simon Banks joining me. Simon, thanks for your time. medevac repealed. Labor's saying a deal's been done. The government's pretty steadfast on this. Jackie Lambie hasn't said deal. I mean, Labor needs to be a bit careful about claiming something if Jackie Lambie says there was no deal at all and she comes out...
Well, no, but she's claiming that the government promised her certain things in order to secure her vote.
They weren't her words. She didn't say they've promised me certain things.
Well, I think she's made it very clear that the government did something or was promising to do something which previously it wasn't. Now, I don't know how, in layperson's terms, you can't describe that as a deal. I think it is. I think there will be changes to the way in which the offshore processing policy operates. Obviously, there's a lot of speculation about whether some arrangement might be entered into with New Zealand, which the government has previously rejected as an option. Personally, I actually hope that's true, because I want to get people off Manus and Nauru. I think New Zealand would be a suitable arrangement, but if that comes in due course, then the government's policy will have changed, quite contrary to the statements it's been making today.
Kerry, your thoughts? I guess I'm interested that if there is something down the track which wasn't a deal, because that's what the government's been adamant about, but it's an understanding, a negotiation in good faith, and something's announced in Tasmania in 6 months. Is that a big issue for the government, or is horse trading fine?
Well, I mean, we see horse trading in the Senate about all sorts of things all the time. I think the difficulty for the Labor Party is that they don't really want to be going after Jackie in any great way and, accusing her of, she says one thing, the government's saying another, who can we believe type approach, because, Jackie is clearly independent. She makes up her mind on lots and lots of issues. And if the Labor Party are looking for her support in the future, they need to be treating her with respect. I don't think they need to treat her gently, but they do need to be treating her with respect. I think one of the things people are failing to understand about Jackie is that this time round, she's a much more astute politician. And I know people out there will be going, are you kidding? But it's true. She's actually much more astute. She's getting good advice. She's thinking things through. So she is considering her vote on pretty well every issue. So from that point of view, the Labor Party, as I said, need to treat her with respect because they may need her in the not-too-distant future.
I guess that goes for both sides right now with these particular crossbenchers. Yeah, when you look at One Nation and Jackie Lambie, or Centre Alliance as well, I guess, because Corey Bernardi's about to go and there's another Liberal in there. So where to for Labor on this issue? Look, the hope is for everyone. I think there's 460-odd people on Nauru and Manus Island, 180 in Australia, that some sort of resettlement can be achieved. But are they going to try to make this a big issue or not really, given the politics of it?
Well, I mean, the reality is that this is now out of the hands of the Parliament, if you like. I mean, the government will determine what the policy is through, or the legislative policy will be through the House of Representatives, and its numbers are there, so there's nothing the Labor Party can do. This now really comes down to how does the government actually execute on this. So, for example, we know that there are some people who have already been approved for medevac approval. If this legislation is literally passed and granted royal assent within the next couple of days, you would expect that those people, or at least some of them, will not come to Australia.
Well, they still have the other avenue, so there are medical evacuations.
Oh, the government can return to its original policy, but we need to remember that that original policy meant that very often people had to go through the courts to just get basic medical care that they actually needed. Now, I don't think that's a very satisfactory...
I mean, is it basic care? Because there is medical care available over there. They're not...
Yes, but the reason why these people are coming to Australia, even under the medevac legislation, as you know, there's a panel of doctors that's appointed by the minister, by Peter Dutton, if you like, that actually gets the final say about whether or not it is appropriate on medical grounds to bring the person to Australia.
Well, their final say is a security trigger.
The minister also has an additional mechanism, so they can say if they're a security risk, they don't come no matter what.
Yeah, I don't think they get the final say on medical grounds.
No, the medical panel gets to have the say on medical grounds. The minister gets to intervene on the basis of national security considerations.
Kerry, any potholes here for the government? I mean, what we know is they need a resettlement deal and they say it's difficult, and it was, but I mean, it's got to be sorted out pretty soon one way or another, doesn't it?
Well, and remember, there were people who were saying that the government was incapable of negotiating a resettlement deal. We have seen a significant number of the people in Nauru and Manus go to the United States. I don't think it's beyond the pale to think that this government will be able to negotiate a new settlement deal. Now, who that might be with, we don't know. But, you know, the Prime Minister was very clear today. He kept saying when he was asked, we want people off Manus and we want them out of Nauru. Now, it's up to the government to work out how that can happen. They have to negotiate with whichever country is willing to take them. Who knows? Maybe Mr. Trump will be feeling generous and allow us to send more to the United States. You wouldn't know with Mr. Trump.
Well, I guess you never quite know. Look, last time around, of course, ultimately we had the quiet resettlement of people in Australia. I don't know if we're at a point where the government wouldn't be able to do that even if it wanted to, but that was affected last time.